God, I'm retarded. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Sean McCaddy, and you know what? We're doing a video, obviously, here on YouTube. Anyways, I'm shooting on the A7 II right now. It's a nice camera. I've already done the unboxing, so I shot that on my Samsung S8, and technically this is from the future. You're a time traveler. And right now, I'm giving you guys a sneak preview of kind of what this camera can do. I'm at ISO 800 in my bedroom with a decent amount of light. Sorry for my room, it is a complete pigsty. I'll clean that up later. But right now I'm just setting up for the rest of the shots, and we'll go ahead and get into it because I guess you guys don't want to sit here and watch me talk for too long. So let's cut it in 3, 2, 1. So before we get started, I just want to apologize for the loss of quality. I'm recording off my Galaxy S8, and as you know, it's not that great. I'm on the front-facing camera also, so I can see how everything's going. But yeah, everything else will be shot on the Sony A7 II after that. But here it is, the Sony A7 II. Go over the features. So it is a 24.3 megapixel camera. It is a full frame sensor, which is why I bought this camera. ISO 25600. I would never use that, but it is an option if you do need to shoot in very low light. Has a fast hybrid autofocus system. I've heard it's decent, but if you're doing vlogging and stuff like that, it's not going to be optimal, but we'll test that out, like I said, later on. So one of the coolest features is that it has the 5-axis stabilizer. So if you don't have a stabilizer in your lens, this will do the trick for you. And it's really smooth. I've seen a lot of video on it. We'll test it out in a second. And the fact it has an OLED viewfinder, which is sweet because, of course, it's a mirrorless camera. No more mirror, and the OLED screen will definitely show true rich colors because, of course, the OLEDs, they are organic light emitting diodes, and each pixel has its own light source, so you can actually turn the pixel on or off, so you can get really rich, deep blacks. So that's gonna be a really cool feature. But enough talk, that's enough features. Let's go ahead, get this thing opened up right away. Just got a bunch of useless warranty pamphlets. Useless. Get into the box here. Okay, nicely laid out. It's very simple, nothing special or anything like that. We're gonna go ahead and pull out the camera. This little pouch, actually a nice little fabric, which holds the camera. Ooh. And here it is. The Sony A7 II, everyone. Flip out screen. This is sweet because my last Canon 6D didn't actually have a flip out screen. This one's only tilt up and down, but which is nice when you're getting those low shots. You actually be able to look down at the monitor without having to get an external monitor. So the camera's actually really good looking. I think this is my favorite looking camera series out of Nikon or Canon. I think Sony really has a good look to the mirrorless cameras. We'll put that aside. What else do we got here? This package did come with the 24 to 70 millimeter lens, and the aperture goes down to 3.5. So it's a kit lens. It's actually apparently decent. We'll have to test that out a bit, but probably see the specs there. Feels good build quality. It's an E-mount, which is Sony's proprietary mounting system. It's weird. These are different caps that I'm used to. I'm used to the Canon series, so this is all really cool to me. Oh, would you look at that? They gave you a hood, a free hood. I don't know why. That's actually nice. I mean, it's cheap enough. I understand why they could afford to do that. I just don't know why Canon or things like that don't give you a free lens hood. But nonetheless, what else we got here? We got a strap. Ooh, a strap. I will definitely be putting this strap on in a second, but I do like the look of the Canons, honestly, better. This is kind of plain and boring. I like the red flashy colors on the Canon series. But I mean, everyone needs a strap because I'm a clumsy man, so I'm gonna need that, obviously. What else we got in here? So it's gonna come with a battery, which I've heard don't last that long, so I'm gonna have to buy another one for sure. We'll take that out. I'll have to put that in there. Hopefully they gave us a charge, because sometimes you buy a product and the battery's dead and you want to use it right away and you're just like bummed out. And hopefully they won't do that. Hopefully it's got a little bit of charge left. What do we got here? The power brick. So no charging station, so I'm assuming I'm gonna have to plug the power into the camera to charge it. Kind of annoying. I don't like that. Kind of pissed off about that. That's okay. I'll get a charging station later on. What do we got here? Got a charging cable, just a standard cable, nothing special. And that's really what's in the box. Nothing else that I can see at least. So we'll put that away. Let's go ahead and start the camera. Okay, so let's put the lens on. So we'll take off the cap here. Holy shit. I'm just a clumsy bastard here. Let's take this cap off. Have to align the little dot there with the dot there. And spin it to the right, just like a Canon would. And there we go. Take the lens cap off. And need some battery. Let's put the battery in. And just like that. There we go. Oh, that's weird. So Canons, you just click it and it closes for you. This one, you actually have to press the button over to lock it, or else it's not going to stay shut. Let's turn this on. Okay, I got battery. I need my SD card. Let me throw in an SD card here. God. Really? I gotta go. I gotta move like an extra 2 centimeters. This is bullshit. This is 2019. I shouldn't have to do anything but call my robot over to bring me what I need. We're far from that though. Okay. Memory card in the camera. Here we go. I've never used a Sony camera before, so this is actually different. So menus are pretty straightforward. It's just basically like a Canon system, just a little bit more screens, and I think there's actually more features on there than what I'm used to. So you'd scroll through the camera settings 1 to 9 there, you go up and you move to the settings, then you can go to the connection settings and vice versa, and then each selection gives you a number series of different menus or different options. So it looks like a pretty easy system. I'll have to get used to it. You can also spin the dial just like on my Canon 6D did. So we'll have to go ahead and test this thing out. Hopefully the autofocus, like it's supposed to, is supposed to be pretty decent. I heard it's obviously not going to be the best for vlogging, but it will do the trick. Plus it'll give me all the features I want. I want 60 frames per second at 1080p. And one of the things I'm really stoked on is the 5-axis gimbal. And we'll have to go ahead and test that out in a sec, but that's probably one of my favorite features of this thing, is just because I want to do some handheld shots sometimes. Sometimes it's like I'm short for space and it's hard to put like a rig in that little confined space that I'm working in. So it's nice to actually be able to do some handheld shots, but without a stabilizer, you're really going to have shaky footage. So hopefully this fixes that. And so just getting used to how this camera works. So this actually controls your shutter speed, this little dial here. The one on the front actually controls the aperture. And if you press this button right here, it actually has the ISO, and then you just scroll up and down through the ISO. So that's kind of handy. It also has 5 frames per second continuous shooting, so that's what that sounds like. It's going to take a while to write to card. You can't actually do anything until it's done writing to the card. So maybe a faster memory card would help, or Sony should just get their shit together and figure out a different system for that. Got the hot shoe mount at the top here, and you do have a few custom buttons here like that, and your exposure dial is right here. So everything's laid out pretty well in my opinion, and I'm so far liking it. Not only does it look good, but it looks like it's also well made and well put together and thought out. So also the record button's right there. It's a weird spot. I've been trying to press it. I have big fat thumbs, so it's actually not ideal for my thumb size or anything like that. I think it's kind of a questionable spot for a record button. Usually the Canons are just right there for the record button, and I'm just used to that. So I'll just have to get used to it. It's okay. These cameras are supposed to be really good, so I'm gonna stop nitpicking. So I'm gonna go ahead and test this out. I'll cut to some B-roll footage after I've figured it all out. We'll see what this camera can do. It's gonna take me a little bit here, but for you, it's gonna take about 3, 2. What in tarnation you guys doing in here? Let's go. I don't know why you guys are in the fridge. That's so weird. Anyway, so you guys saw the footage. It looked pretty good. That was actually all handheld footage, just because I wanted to test out the 5-axis gimbal, just to see how well it actually does perform, and I'm super impressed. The footage is usable. I mean, obviously it's gonna be better if you have a rig for it, but if you're shooting handheld, this is completely usable footage. I threw a warp stabilizer on there, so it's not obviously the best quality, but for what it is, it really is a good assistance to have on the camera. So that's a really good feature that I really like on this camera. 1080p, 60 frames per second, that's good. It's not what I want. I'd like at least 120 frames per second, but if you want to spend an extra $1,000, the A7S2 is actually more of a videography camera, and I don't really want to spend $3,000 on a camera right now. I'm not a professional yet, right? So I still have a lot more learning to do before I decide to fork out $3,000 for a camera. This will do completely well for me. As a vlogging camera also, it's decent. Like, the autofocus isn't absolutely trash. I had the Canon 6D. It had no continuous autofocus. You had to completely, you had to manually focus every single time if you want to do a new shot. So if you're vlogging with a Canon 6D, that's not a camera. That's not a video camera, that is a photography camera, and I didn't know that at the time. So you make mistakes and you learn from them. I'm really happy with this camera. I know this camera is going to do very well for me. And just testing out the autofocus, it's not the greatest, but it's gonna suffice. For what I'm using it for, it's more than what I need. And it's decent for low light situations as well. I mean, I wouldn't crank it up to 25,600 ISO anytime. I'd only crank it up maybe max 12,000, depends the situation. Because grain is just, oh, I hate noise. Noise is the grossest thing to look at in a video. So in that sense, it's good for photography. This is definitely more of a photography camera. I just know that I had all the features that I needed. That's why I picked this one up for videography purposes, and it's gonna do the job for what I need it to do. So if you're looking to get into video, things like that, this is definitely a good option for you, but just know that it's not gonna be a professional level for what you might want it for, like low light, 120 frames per second. Doesn't do 4K. That's another thing that's kind of sucks, but most people don't have 4K monitors. I, for some reason, have 2 over there, but not very many people do have that. So most people are still shooting in 1080, which is completely fine for me. I think it's still a great resolution, and it's never gonna be a bad resolution in my opinion. So I'm pretty happy with this. For the next 1 to 2 years, I'm definitely gonna keep this camera. When I'm getting a little bit more professional, as you see, my content gets better each video, and once I get to a certain level, I might actually fork out the money for an A7S2, or maybe even the A7S3. We'll see when that comes out. That's still soon to come in 2019, but yeah, the footage came out good. I don't know, what do you guys think? Comment down below if you liked the footage. If you didn't, whatever. Just a bunch of haters. One thing that is misleading is the fact that because it's a mirrorless camera, it's a smaller form factor. Versus the mirrored cameras, they're a little bit bigger and bulkier. This is actually not that light. Like, it's not that much lighter than a Canon 6D or something like a Canon 80D or something. So if you're looking for something like light for vlogging or something like that, it's not going to really do that much difference. Depends on what lens you have on there as well. I have the kit lens that came with it, which is actually pretty good, by the way. I'm pretty impressed with that. But like, I'm actually leaning right now because the camera's not that light. So if you're looking to buy the Sony because it's a smaller camera, it's not that much difference if you're carrying it around for vlog purposes in weight wise. It's definitely smaller to carry around if you're traveling, things like that. So if you're just a photographer and you're carrying this around, definitely this is a good option because it's smaller to carry around. But if you're vlogging, it's really not a big difference in weight. So But yeah, that's the reason kind of why I got this camera. Just it has all the features that I want. The 5-axis gimbal is definitely a good selling point, since I want to do a little bit more handheld shots just for usability in tight situations. So this camera really checks a lot of my boxes. I know it's more oriented for photography, but I have no complaints so far. I still have to do a little more testing in low light situations. I didn't really do too much of that. I did do that fire shot, as you saw, but that really isn't a good test because that's a huge light source. I want to do a little bit more less lighting. I'll definitely go out with my friends. Also, the preamp in the camera for the audio is actually really good. The microphone barely has any noise. If it does, I can't hear it. The 6D definitely had a lot of noise to it, so I had to kind of do a noise reduction kind of effect in post-production, which is kind of annoying because it just slows down your workflow, right? So you just want everything to work 100% out of the box how it is, right? So that's also another good thing. The camera's build quality also is really good. It's made out of metal. I'd show you, but I'd hate to film on my phone. As you already saw, it's terrible quality. Really easy to get used to also. The fact that the menus really resemble Canon in a sense. It's very simple to get used to. So if you're coming from Canon and you're on the fence about switching to Sony because you might not be able to get used to Sony, I don't think there's a problem there. It's really straightforward. It's basically like most cameras are set up. The thing is, obviously you're gonna have to buy Sony lenses. I actually have my Canon L series 17 to 40 millimeter lens, which I'm gonna have to get the adapter to hook up to the Sony, and we'll see how that works. Because it's a full frame sensor, I really think it's gonna look good since it's a wider angle lens. So I'll have to test that out. I'll have to get the adapter, of course. I'll do that in another video. I'll do some more testing. Oh, sorry. And the fact it doesn't have a flip out screen, that sucks. It does have the tilt. So if you're filming down low, you can actually see the footage while you're filming. Whereas the Canon, they actually flip out and you can spin it so you can actually see yourself if you're facing the camera. In a sense, that's good if like you're setting up for a YouTube video like I was earlier. It'd be nice to actually see if you're in frame, if you're in focus, things like that. I trust the autofocus enough that I can tell just looking down the barrel I'm in focus. But if you're vlogging, you'd probably tempt yourself to look at the actual screen and see if you're in focus and in frame and stuff like that. In a sense, it's bad because you're not actually talking to the viewer. You're not looking down the barrel. You're actually looking away, so it's kind of not personal. If you're looking away, you're just looks like you're talking to someone else, not the actual person viewing your video, right? So that's a con, but also a pro. It depends what you're using it for, right? So I don't know, did I miss anything? I don't know, I feel like I've talked about this camera a little bit too much. I'm gonna stop rambling on. If you guys like this video, hit that like button, smash it if that's what you're into. If you watch this far, you might as well just subscribe. We're basically friends. I don't know, I think we have a good connection. But you wanna hit that bell notification just to let you know. If you wanna stay up to date, YouTube doesn't promote videos that well anymore. If you don't hit the bell notification, you probably won't see my next video. If you wanna be friends, you want to keep seeing my content, hit that bell notification to stay up to date. If you want to get an A7 II yourself, I'll leave a link down below. Also, if you want a sexy computer rig like myself, I'll leave my computer setup with links down below to everything that I have. And other than that, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Oh my god, that was sketch. Peace.